second best. There is no second best. There's no second best crypto asset. There's a crypto asset. It's called Bitcoin, right? Right? There's no second best. Okay. It's not like,
man. Thank goodness.
Welcome to the HEX Late Show. It's 43 OG here with you. Now, I know a lot of you are feeling a little bit dejected, a little bit unmotivated, but let me just bring up Blue Bum so we can chat about this. What's going on, brother?
Hey, man. Doing well. Doing very good. Enjoying life.
Your level is very... Can you hold your mic a bit closer?
It's really? Maybe it did a flick back to the...
I think so. It just sounds very
No,
low.
it should be fine. Really?
Should be fine?
Yeah, I mean, it looks... The levels are like smashing it, and it's the good mic. So...
Yeah. No, that's good. It's good. It's all right. As long as everyone... you guys listening, can you tell us, is...
Oh, shit. Hang on.
Are our levels okay? Our mics, are they good? Can you hear them? Give us a thumbs up if you can hear us okay. Audio is good. Okay. Excellent. All right. This is what we need. We need Mr. Miyagi to come in and do this.
Do a bit of magic touch on the HEX corpse. Get back into the fight.
Yeah. We know what HEX can do. Look, it is very, very difficult. This is what crypto does. It sort of breaks your heart by a thousand tiny cuts, one by one, and it's very, very difficult. It's very, very difficult to watch. I have, like, I'll be 100% honest. I have bought, like, when I've seen these dips, I've bought RH ecosystem stuff this week with fresh stuff that I've brought in, just because I see, and that this is not financial advice, by the way. Do what you think is right for you guys, but I just can't help but see bargains and go for it. But at the same time, I see like this Gensler guy in the US going as hard as he can at crypto, right? Which is not great. Which is not great for crypto, because so many different cryptos are getting sued by the SEC. That's not great. But then it's not great for the optics of it for people not in crypto looking in. They just look at this like something's not right with that crypto stuff, you know? So I can't help it. Like, right now we are in, like, the sentiment. I don't think I've ever felt this lower sentiment in crypto in the time I've been involved.
Don't you think it's interesting though, with that Gensler stuff? Like, it's so interesting that they have to come out on Twitter and try to make their case. Hey, Tangent. And then he has to go on all of these shows to try to make his case. It's like, why would a government regulatory agency even need to go to the public to explain, like to try to make their case of what they're doing? To me, it shows their weakness in that
Yes.
sense.
Only in America do they make their politicians into celebrities, man. It's ridiculous. In other countries in Europe and Australia, we don't know who these nerds are who go around making these decisions and busting people for doing the wrong shit. You don't know their names. You don't know what they look like. They're not on TV. They're not on the internet.
Who's the head of the ATO?
No idea.
You could ask. No one knows.
No idea.
I mean, you can probably find out.
Gun to my head, I could not tell you who any of these people are. It's ridiculous.
Adam Stokes interviewed that guy.
Oh, really?
The head of the ATO? Did he really?
Damn.
How long ago?
Within the last year, for sure.
God, that would be interesting. I want to see that actually.
Yeah,
we asked him about crypto and stuff.
Yeah.
The head of the ATO. Yeah, right.
It was like a major guy at the ATO. Like, it might be the head of the ATO. Actually, it might be.
Yeah.
That's intense.
But let's. Okay. We can talk about HEX and how, how we feel about what's happening in the whole ecosystem at the moment.
I don't know.
Before we get to that, before we get to that,
I'll stop looking at the chart.
let's can we just talk about, like, in the last week I've heard a lot of people complaining about like Aussie bank accounts not allowing you to transfer the money you want into exchanges, right? So this actually happened to me during the week when I tried to transfer funds over and it didn't happen. It got rejected and sent back immediately. So I didn't have that dodgy, that dodgy shit that happens that you hear from people that they send money to an exchange, the exchange accepts it, and then gives you like, oh no, now we need like a fucking scan of your anus and like, X, Y, and Z. We need
but that's
everything.
the exchange end. Like,
that's the exchange end.
That's the exchange end doing that. Yeah.
Okay, so that's the exchange end doing that. I've not had a problem with that with Australian exchanges, like that I've dealt with. I've never had a problem with that. They have asked for like all the regular stuff, which I never that happy to give, but you got to do what you got to do, right? But this is the first time on the bank end when I sent money in and it got rejected, and then
did it just show back up in your account?
It just showed back up in the account, and then what I did is I sent across two separate transfers because I think the amount I sent was too much in one go. And it was still below my limit. Like, I have an upper limit of how much I can send instantly in one go. But what I sent over was 5 figures, but this was below. And then it was still below the limit. It didn't go through, and then I just split up into two smaller ones, and it went through. So I don't know what was up with that. That was weird to me. But
that's weird.
There are people
That's weird.
out there who have complained about the exchange side of things. Banks are now starting to seem like they're in the last couple of weeks in Australia starting to crack down. I just want to hear what you guys reckon, and I think I know what you think, but I want to hear you say it. What do you think about banks telling you what you can spend your money on and where you can send your money? Tangent.
I like the positive framing is the more they do this shit, the more people realize that it's not their money when it's in the bank. So it's like, it's a classic case like everything else that's going on at the moment. Short-term bad, long-term good.
Bluey.
Well, I mean, I've extricated myself as much as possible from the banking system, and
well done.
That's working out. And and I've definitely extricated myself out of this Aussie banking system as much as possible. In fact, I don't really use the Aussie banking system at all anymore, apart from just having some accounts just as backup in case kind of thing, if one day I ever do need them. But yeah, I don't think you can put any trust in like banks at all. I mean, I'm in Spain at the moment. Like the government in Spain literally comes in and takes people's money out of their bank accounts, like literally. And they've done that in Canada. It was a big thing in Canada. In Spain, it's just perfectly normal. Yeah.
I really like, oh, whoa, Sammy, Jexer, whoa, I look away for 1 second and everyone's here.
We just snuck in the back
band
door.
back together.
How you going, guys?
Let's get the band back together, guys.
Going well.
I really like the way that Ivan on Tech mentioned where he said, think of your money in the bank like a multi-sig, where it's a 2 of 3 multi-sig with you, the government, and the bank.
That's it.
So the government and the bank can spend your money. You and the bank can spend your money, or you and the government can spend your money.
It pretty much sums it up.
So it's not like there's no one signatory that can just spend the money.
That is, I really like that. That is very true. No one would.
Isn't the funniest part of that is
it is exactly
normally
like that.
It's exactly like that, and isn't the best part of that shit the fact that normally we use analogies to try and explain crypto to normies. This is an analogy where you're actually using it to explain legacy to crypto people.
Yes.
There's only one minor thing. The multi-sig breaks down, and the bank can do whatever the hell they like. So they don't need the government.
Not really, because look, Combank got fined a massive fine for like overcharging customers, and that fine came from the government. So if the bank goes rogue, they will get slammed by the government.
But that's just a slap. That's just a slap on the wrist for them. They're also like investing money into the Reserve Bank, collecting, like they're borrowing and collecting interest and making billions of dollars of profits every year.
I guess that part is
having that access.
That part is arguable, but if the bank fully went rogue and just started like randomly spending people's money, it's likely they would get busted by the government. But when you've got the two signatures, if it's the government and the bank colluding together, then it is like you have no recourse. Like you're done.
If the government says we're doing a bail-in, there's no backing out of it.
Maybe the government has the key that can be used without the multi-sig. Although they have to contact the bank though. But the bank is always going to say yes to them. Yeah, but that doesn't mean that they've actually got that private key. So they still have to call them up and be like, "Yo, we need you to do this," and then they do it.
Have total control over everything. But if the government says, we're going to sign something, and
I think the analogy holds up.
I reckon it's a good one. It's a cracker.
I think it does. It's a fantastic one. Yeah, it's really, really good. By the way, I've got a question. Jexer, where did you get that Where'd you get that shirt from?
I got two shirts. So, believe it or not, all those annoying ads that pop up in your Twitter feed, I clicked on one, and I got. So this is my.
Sometimes they.
This is my cowboy shirt because it's like I'm riding a buck and bronco with the market at the moment, and I've got another one which is the big rocket going up the side. So I'll put that one on when the time comes.
Dude, sometimes they nail it. And I guess that's the point of them harvesting all our data, right? The one good thing that happens out of them just taking all our data. They offer you
shirts that you actually want to have.
Yeah, occasionally you get an ad that's like where you're like, oh, I actually want that. Like,
dude,
it's like the one benefit.
Do not let them harvest your data. Do not let them.
You know I'm joking. You know I'm all about. Spending that shit.
I hope you got that pie hole running in the background, bro. I hope you all have a pie hole running. Maybe not.
You know what I've been doing on Twitter?
Maybe not you.
Because on Twitter,
I can't imagine you got a pie hole in your backpack. But
on Twitter we see ads, right? And I've been like clicking this is not relevant for me, this ad or whatever you say. Like I don't like this ad or whatever. So I've been just like pushing it to see to see what more and more shit they can come up with. That's just like to push at
like
me.
you're just rejecting everything. Like,
Yeah.
I
come up
don't
with
know
really
if you guys have
bizarre
noticed
stuff.
this. I've been Korean for a couple of weeks. Like I just get all ads in Korean or posts in Korean. What the fuck? Where's this come from?
Really?
And I noticed, and someone else the other
so
day
you set your
said they were getting all
VPN in
Japanese stuff.
Korea.
I've
Weird.
never set it to Korea. I don't even think. Could you?
Oh.
Yeah, there might be a
Oh,
Korean.
weird.
Definitely not North
Oh,
Korea.
so
But yeah, I've never set it to
you
Korea.
didn't do it. Crazy.
Nah. So I don't know where they're picking that up from.
Maybe an exchange. Was there a Korean exchange or something?
Yeah, not sure. It's a weird one. But I noticed someone else the other day on Twitter said they've been getting all served up everything in Japanese. Okay, maybe it's just a thing that goes.
So there's another thing that I saw. Someone posted it in our chat in relation to Australia. Is there going to be like making the rules for how they consider you a tax resident in an Australian tax resident much more draconian in the not too distant future?
Is that possible?
So if you leave Australia, well, the US do it.
I mean, we're pretty draconian
Everything's
already.
possible, Jackson.
We're pretty draconian already. I think we're
But like,
with our
No,
exit tax.
Jackson, everything's possible. Like a government can just say, "Hey, this is our law now.
Yeah.
I know.
Like you owe us tax
I was being
wherever you
facetious.
go."
and a lot of these aren't even laws. They're just statutes.
So have you
They're just
actually
like
looked
things
into
that
that
are
one?
taxed.
43. I've seen it come across my desk, but I haven't looked at it.
I've seen. I know that they were discussing this like a year ago. So maybe we're getting to the point where,
But it wasn't that they were going to come out with more sort of statutes or rules. But what it was is that they were just like, we're going to enforce this kind of deal.
Well, I mean, the question is, this is the thing. Like, it's. Look, I've never. If you're gonna, like, I'm not gonna sit here and advocate to people like go up against governments. Like, that's a tall order for Maybe if you're like a nomad and you can just go wherever you want, go wherever you want.
Dude, you don't have to convince people to do it. People will do it on their own. Like,
firmly grounded where they. Sorry, what's that?
you don't have to convince people to do it. Like if the government gets ridiculous enough, the people revolt. Like that's just the deal. Like I'm not even saying that. I'm not recommending it. I'm just saying that's what happens. Like that's.
But most people are never going to give a shit about a rule like this. Tangent.
Oh.
Like most Australians will never, ever, ever, ever give a fuck because why would they? Why would they give a fuck? Because most Australians are never going to leave Australia. So it's never a rule that they would impose that could give them too much blowback.
Yeah, that's how they get away with a lot of shit. Actually, is they make it own. That's the whole tax the rich stuff. Is they know it's like a voting minority. Now, however, rich people have got other ways of having influence in politics by lobbying and stuff like that. But they pick a minority group that'll get screwed, and then they just make the rules screw those people over, and it doesn't matter because it's not enough to impact votes.
So the key here is to understand the rules. If you understand the rules, and then you can work your way.
It's legal.
Set.
It's legal to avoid. It's legal to avoid paying tax.
Yep.
It's illegal to evade paying tax, and there's a difference there.
Yep.
Yeah.
So one of the main things that you can do if you are thinking of going elsewhere, if you're considering that and you're like, hang on, I don't want to get caught up in this thing where I'm going to get chased by Australia wherever I go for tax money. There are double tax avoidance agreements.
Wait, is this a new rule?
Australia,
are they actually bringing this in?
Hey?
Are they actually bringing this in?
Yeah, they're bringing this in.
So what can you
They're bringing this
explain
in.
it?
Fucking serious.
I saw it in the Australian group. What
it's
are they
only-
trying to do?
It's only, and this is from what I remember from a year ago. What they're going to do is they're going to like reduce the amount of time that
It's 183 days
into the country.
It's 183 days.
Like they're going to. It has been previously 100, but there's weird rules. It's like very, and this is what let me talk about the double tax agreement stuff, right? Because that is where you get your loopholes. If you've got a citizenship from a country that has an agreement with Australia, then they've already got an agreement in place of like what the tax rules are going to be between the two countries. And that's your best bet at like not like copying the pointy end of the stick with because if you just leave as an Australian citizen and then don't have citizenship elsewhere and don't have residency elsewhere, you don't necessarily even have to have residency elsewhere. But if you leave and you've got just Australian citizenship, then Australia is going to be like, if you come back to Australia anytime soon, where you just went away for a little bit, like you've been a tax resident the whole time.
Here's a question I've never pondered: Can you renounce your residency in Australia, but not take one up anywhere else, and literally have no country of residence?
You can't. No, you can't renounce residency.
Residency is irrelevant.
You talk like you can.
Citizenship.
You can only renounce citizenship if you have another citizenship that you've already got. So you can't go. You can't renounce citizenship.
You have to live somewhere. Like you've got to belong to someone or something.
Well, residency is different from citizenship, and the residency has rules, and they give like examples of people going to court, and this was the decision based on these circumstances, and this was the decision based on these circumstances. So it's not like it's like so they're kind of so it's more like guidelines. And yeah, you do have to have a residency somewhere else. You can't just like if you just decide to be
if you moved around,
nomad,
if you moved, yeah. So I was going to say, if you moved around so much that you were in a country long
you
enough,
have to have that. Then you'd be paying. Then you'd be considered a resident for tax purposes in Australia, and even if you're gone for like multiple years, so you do have to have residency somewhere. But that doesn't mean you have. But
this is where you need to know. No, hang on. I'm just going to jump in, Bluey. This is if you know the rules of multiple jurisdictions. There's some interjurisdictional tax law arbitrage that you can play, but you would really need to understand the tax laws in multiple jurisdictions to play that game. Like, for example, if you had a passport for an EU member country, you can go live anywhere in the EU, dude. You don't have to ask anyone's like don't have to ask. Now, so if you had let's say you give up your Australian passport and you go to Europe to live, there might be some places in Europe which are great for new like people coming in. And one example is, and because I've really looked into this, is Italy. Like, is a great place to go for low tax. If you go there, you're going to go there for 5 years, and then if you buy a house in that 5-year time, you get to have this same low tax treatment for 10 years, right? And that low tax treatment is, if you live in the south of Italy, it's 90% off. So if you earn $1 million, they'll only taxable income on 100,000. So it's like awesome treatment, awesome tax treatment. But you would have to renounce your Australian citizenship. Like, you'd have to basically cut ties with Australia. Just be like, I'm out.
But that doesn't mean you need to renounce your citizenship. You can just be. You can.
It makes it a lot easier if you do.
Yeah, but you don't need to. You can just like not have a bank account there that you use, not have property there, cut those kind of financial ties. And then you have like the ATO, you go to their website and they give you a whole lot of examples of when you're considered a resident for tax purposes and when you're not.
Yeah.
Guys, I know our audience loves us talking about tax.
It's the most boring shit.
But, yeah. So there was a have we? I don't know if we want to touch on this or not. The silver video. Anyone watch that?
Silver video. Yeah. What's everyone talking about?
Did you see the meme he created where he's like sticking the head up out of the trenches to get shot? Did you see that?
Yeah.
I didn't see the video, so bring it. Tell me, what was it about?
Yeah.
Why was it so? Why did he cop so much fire for it?
I don't know that he's copped so much finding anything that hasn't already been said. I guess he was just popping up and saying his 2 cents on what he thought has been going on over the last couple of weeks, 4 weeks. How long have we been launched for now? I don't know, 3 or 4 weeks.
I
just
think,
sort of
I,
giving
think I
his-
saw someone post that it's a 30-day and
4 weeks.
like a 1 month anniversary was
Okay,
like
there you go.
Oh,
Yeah.
30 days.
a 30-day thing. Yeah.
Yeah, so he ran through
It's been 30 days. 4
he
weeks.
ran through his thoughts on the whole EHEX PHEX thing. Had a chat about the BankX thing. So it's not anything that we haven't all discussed ad nauseum over the last couple of weeks. So I think everyone that's wanted to have a say on all of these topics has spoken out. So I guess this was just his condensed version of those events, and everyone.
Cool.
There's lots of opinions on either side of this, and I think the only thing that is truly going to sort it out is time, because everyone's trying to make calls and predictions on something that's 30 days old. You just said, so we're all
30,
trying to, we're all trying to jump to conclusions on, well, this is doing this because of this, and this is shit, and we need to get rid of it, or no, we've got to keep both of them, and fuck, we're 30 days old into this, like, so it's way too early to be making any calls on anything like that. And
Agreed.
If the price had gone the other
did
way,
say that. Hang on, he said this. He said,
Really?
he said no,
That was-
this is not what we.
yeah, that was where I went, what the fuck are you talking about?
You said the
man?
15-second video could have had like a guy with a gun off to the side. And you zoomed in. You zoomed in, and like it had, like it was checking to see if it was AI that had generated that 15-second clip. Like it's trying to.
Yeah, so
It is odd that he hasn't live streamed, and that could have been a pre-recorded video. Like that could have been left to be played. But I
think everyone's putting.
I don't think Richard gives enough of a fuck to bother preparing for his own death. I think he would just be like, "Fuck you guys!" So that's what makes me think he's not dead. Is that would be too considerate to be like, I'll make this plan so that everyone still thinks I'm alive, so that the coins can like survive. He would just be like, "You guys work it out."
But it also, but by the same token, like Richard has done a couple of curious things.
I hope he's not,
and that video
I don't think he is.
is kind of what's the point of making that
That was
video,
odd.
15-second video? Like, what's that meant to do? Like,
odd.
Some of the chicks in our group chats have said the same thing. They're a little bit
I
worried
agree.
about Richard Hart.
Oh no!
Really?
I'm not. I don't think he's dead.
Man,
and
the
I
dude
also
has been
thought
flat out busy. Like, what do you think he's sitting there with his thumb up his ass all day? Like, the dude would be flat out doing shit.
Yeah, I know, right?
Like,
Could be some lady
imagine
with
the
thumb up his ass
conspiracy
for all we
theory.
know.
Imagine
Like, he could be knee deep,
like, someone tweeting,
Richard Hart could be
someone
knee deep-
tweeting on his behalf this entire time.
knee deep, wading through bitches,
Well, he's
just like
admitted.
banging
That's
bitches
it.
He's
non-stop.
admitted. I've seen the video where he's admitted you can send him dirty pics, but then be careful of who might look at them. So I think he's
So,
indicating.
hang on, wind that back again. What was that?
What?
I missed that
What?
bit.
So he says you
All I
can
heard was dirty
send him dirty pictures, but be careful of who looks at them. So I think what he's saying, he's got a personal assistant to handle his social media. That's how I took it.
Or does he mean the government?
Yeah, I hadn't asked him the question about sending him dick pics, but anyway.
Maybe he means the government. Maybe he means like that it's not end-to-end encrypted, so like anyone can look at it on the way on its travels. But you're probably right. He probably has a PA now as well.
But I think he was talking about getting a PA a while back.
I'd be surprised if he'd let someone tweet on his behalf, yo.
yeah, he doesn't
That is a
seem. No, I don't think so
massive
either.
risk. He doesn't seem like the kind of guy that would allow someone else to have access to his Twitter account. That's a massive liability.
Yeah.
Imagine if someone got in that person's ear and offered them like 200 grand to shill some fucking shitcoin. Like it's just
Yeah.
And his tweets
just
still
don't
have
think
the
it'd be-
RH kind of vibe to them.
yeah,
like it
yeah,
doesn't
yeah.
feel like
It
it's
definitely seems like him. Yeah.
yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah,
so
I think he's
that-
fine. I think he's fine, alive and healthy and well.
I hope Richard Hart is alive and well,
Oh,
and
of course.
he's working hard as always.
So
It was
Bitches.
it was really strange that he put out that EHEX PHEX. Oh look, the people have seemed to decide, and it's like
no,
he
but
knows that these are
everyone-
markets,
no,
and they go on and
everyone-
on and on.
Strange.
It's such a, that was
Everyone
such a weird
reads
tweet.
into
Yeah, that was an
things-
odd one. That was odd.
I know, but everyone reads into it a completely different way. So one person might go, "Oh, he's because this is their bias. Oh no, he's saying you've got to get rid of HEX," and then another person will look at it who's got the other bias and saying, "Oh no, he's just saying, look, they've both got value. One's just got more on one chain." Like it's everyone reads way too much.
Yeah, but why? But why make the tweet? But why make the tweet? That's
got one
that's
thing
the
to
key
say.
reason. Like, why make that tweet? Why state the obvious?
Hey, Kamiru Designs, go fuck yourself.
Yeah, that's
How about
what I
that?
was just about to block
Go
your
fuck
ass.
yourself. Yeah.
We give off.
I actually like haters. I like haters.
Yeah,
So-
take that as a compliment.
What have you got nothing better to do?
I don't
with
know
your
what
time?
cults they've been looking at.
I mean-
Is it like as
Yeah,
in,
exactly.
what cults just like get on and like they're like laughing about shit and disagreeing and stuff like that?
Yeah.
Cults are like
Cults
are
are
like
the opposite.
talking shit.
Cults are
Yeah,
like this
cults
one
are
dude
in
tells you what
agreement
to think,
all the time.
tells you what to do, and everyone fucking agrees. Like this is like the
Yeah.
opposite of any cult I've ever seen or shit.
The cult of the confused.
Yeah, Richard did put out a nice tweet about suicide. I saw KDP put out a big, long tweet about how many suicides and fighting she's seen. And then Richard Hart put out a tweet. And then I saw another dude tweeting that not that he was suicidal, but he understands why people could feel suicidal. And that's like, it was a big thing today on Twitter. And then Richard Hart put out a really nice tweet with one of his famous sci-fi quotes. It's a very comforting quote in regards to suicide.
It's
So
probably
it's a
too
lot.
late to say this now, but I've been told that particular word is like algo death on YouTube. But don't stress, it's too late now. But
Yeah,
like there's
we
an
lost
R,
the
there's an
algo
R
wars.
word. There's
We
an
lost the
R
algo
word.
wars a long time ago.
There's an R word that
Yeah,
that kills the algo. That's the S word that kills the algo. Oh, obviously all the like
C words.
C19, all that
Yeah.
shit was death words.
But now you can do that, and you can do, and I think you can do the questioning American election one now as well. People are talking about that and not getting algo.
We're allowed to.
Yeah.
Wait, how crazy
And
was
I
that?
think-
That Elon actually released the algo for Twitter, so you actually know what.
Oh, you can check it out, which makes
Yeah.
it really difficult because it really pumps you up if you have tons of people following you and you're hardly following anyone.
Yes, but the
it's
number
just
of
like,
likes, number of
that's
likes
not
on
fair.
your post, number of likes on your post, but Bluey, it's not the number of people, it's the ratio. So you
Yeah, I
just have
know.
to follow less people.
But I
than
wanna be-
who follow you.
I know, but I want to
But
be
you
like
are-
nice.
you
If
are- you wanna
Hexicans
be
are
a
following
team
me, I'm like, I
player.
want to
Yeah,
follow
yeah.
back. I want to be team
Yeah.
player. For a community, that puts
Yeah,
us
good
in, as
point.
a community in a really difficult position. It's like, what do we do? Just choose a few people to try to bump them up the algo if we want to get out of our community?
Mm.
I think if
That's a
you
good
if
point.
you want to
So
get
someone in the chat, Mark F, is asking, what's your thoughts on why Richard hasn't streamed? And Mark, we've already addressed this, bro. We already know
Super busy.
what Richard Hardy is doing.
And doesn't
He's
want to
working
stream
out at
until
the
it's
gym
perfect.
and he's making bitches.
We have no
No,
idea.
he just doesn't.
we
He
just have
doesn't know what he's
no
doing.
fucking idea. That's
No,
what it
he
comes
said
down
he
to.
he tweeted saying, I won't live stream until like everything's schmicko.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. True.
so maybe in about
Yeah.
2 years he might live stream. No, but I think the reason why he done the short video was it was to mark an occasion. Like if he didn't put anything out, then it would have been a bit weird. But he's obviously pretty busy, so you've got to do something and just at least a bit of a tip of the cap for the actual process of the launch and acknowledging it. So I think that's what it was. But he's probably had plenty to focus on, I think.
In fact, in the tweet that I mentioned about where he said, I'm not going to live stream with anyone like interview style until I'm happy with how PulseChain is. He also said, but I may release a video of just myself. And that's that short
He
one.
did, yeah.
Hey guys, I got a question for you. Seeing as you're all brainiacs, one of my Hexagon mates was telling me that you can use an Amazon cloud account to be a PulseChain validator, and just all you have to do is pay, and then like you can make an awesome return. Do you know much about it and care to share it?
Yeah, with stuff
So
like that, you can choose
yeah.
the specs. Like you pay, you can basically just spec the computer out, like how much of what what hardware resources you want allocated to you, and whether it's like shared or dedicated. And and some of them even have plans where it looks at in real time how much you're using, so you're paying actually per usage.
Like how much
I
data?
think David Feeder's doing a version of that.
Is he? And is it profitable? What's the pros and cons of doing something like that? Because you're not.
If you did it, you would still need to know how to set up a validator, Sammy.
Would
Whereas
ya?
if you were to go
Yes.
through someone like David Feeder, he would probably be able to do it for you.
Yeah,
Yeah.
Amazon's
Or
not
help you
gonna
with it.
Amazon's not gonna like install all the software and shit. Like as in, it's literally they're just providing you the box, and then what you do on it is up to you.
Okay. All right.
So
You would just
all
log
it
in
does is
on the
prevent you
computer
from having
browser
to buy your own hardware
and like
right?
access the. You would log in on the computer browser, log into it, and then like just access it, and you would get a terminal. And, it'd be just like a computer terminal, like a computer.
There's
CLI.
probably
I'm not
also
sure,
a
is
risk
it-
that they can see what
Would
you're
AWS
doing.
be like? Is it Linux running Linux? I'm
Yeah,
guessing.
you
could
can.
probably
We can
run
choose. You can choose what you want and which type of Linux you want and all that kind of stuff.
They'd be able
Of
to
course,
see what
yeah,
you're
you
doing,
can
right?
use whatever you want. Yeah.
No.
Are you sure?
Well, they'd have
Maybe
No. So you root access to the server. So you'll get given credentials to log in.
So governments have to subpoena, like if they think someone's doing something dodgy on there, they have to subpoena the because I've heard of people getting busted for like doing shit like on cloud services. I'm sure of it.
I think if you, my understanding of it is if you're giving a Linux box and you change the root access to it, so only you can access it, then no one else should be able to.
Yeah, but there's another layer there. There's another layer.
But it's just a virtualized layer.
To get
So it's,
access to the root access before that connection to the root access, can they see like that part of it?
Because I'm sure I've heard stories of people
Probably
getting
not.
busted, like as in they track, like the government or whatever, the authorities track something to there, and then if it's on a cloud service, they just go to the people that run it and they're like, yo, this box is like doing dodgy shit, like running like malware shit or whatever, and then they just shut it down. Or maybe they can at least shut it down.
they could shut down the
if
server.
they can't actually see, they can definitely shut it down. So Sammy, it's definitely more censorable, and yeah,
you go through quite a big loop.
I don't like it, as in, and because you're also then not really helping with the decentralization of the network either, because you're like, if everyone did that or if multiple people do it, it's like a central point of failure.
And isn't it? I've heard when you got a validator, you got to babysit it. That's what I've heard for some people. It's like you have to be there all the time. So you can't go on holidays. You can't go out have a social life.
You could have remote access.
Yeah. So it's not like a literal baby where you got to feed it every 5 minutes. You so I've got mine running, and I don't even look at it most of the times. But I'll tell you what's funny though. So I've usually got a very stable internet, never have power outages, and since I've had this box
and
running,
then Murphy's Law.
Don't say knock on wood.
But that would be the advantage of doing it through AWS, is that you
So
good point.
it's their internet and power. Yeah.
Good point.
So
you get more uptime, but the downside is the critical resource for validators is disk. So getting all the processors and the RAM and all that on, like Tangent said, getting it elastic so it can sort of just expand as you need more demand and things like that is fine.
Yeah.
But the disk size, if you've got a 1 terabyte disk size, that is what will cost you a bunch on Amazon.
See, when Richard talked about how he was spending like over $500,000 a month, and he just recently he tweeted his bill, and I was just going, geez, that sounds like huge. Like anytime I've like I ran a validator on AWS ages ago for something else, and the price was hardly anything.
It's the disk capacity. Like if you imagine you're running full nodes, what's a full node on Ethereum now? Is it 12 gig or 12 terabyte or something ridiculous? Or
Is it
for
really
an archive
12
node?
terabytes?
For an archive node, I think it's.
But
I think
do
it's
you need
something
to run an
ridiculous.
But what about for a validating node? You wouldn't need that, would you? Or
So hitting a lot of full nodes, which would be sort of 2 terabytes.
That's why he's so expensive, right? Because he's
But then
although
if
he's
you're
dropping
doing
them now,
archive
hey?
nodes,
The 4,000 validators that just left the system, they were Richard's that he'd set up just to introduce for the introduction to the network to get it started.
Or they're
That's
developers, the
Well,
developing
we don't know
crew,
for sure, but people would assume that, yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
So he's
So how
removed
many
them now, has he?
validators-
And that's probably why he's got such a big bill. Like
And
you'd think
how
that
many
once
are
they
running now, guys? Do you know?
Also, because he geographically
This
split
info
them
should
up
be
all around the
available. We can check
world,
it out.
there would be some of the services that he would be using would actually be far more expensive because AWS has that economy of scale. It's probably the cheapest cloud computing shit you can get. But if you're going to other countries, actually, maybe they've got hubs in other countries. Who knows? But yeah, that's good. That's great because there's so many validators now, right? There's thousands of them.
Is there?
There's 19,000,
Damn.
19,346 validators.
Damn.
Jesus.
Does that mean each validator gets paid less once they're like the more and more there are because it's a finite amount of inflation that's being split across all of them?
So they're all taken in turns of
Did you
doing
say
work.
inflation?
Yeah.
There's no inflation.
How do the validators get
Yes,
paid?
there is. Yeah, there's definitely inflation.
Does Pulse have inflation?
Yep.
No, it's
Yeah, it's the same as
deflationary,
E.
isn't it?
So it inflates,
Same as
but the burns on your fees and things like that, if there's enough volume, then you go deflationary.
The net can be either direction if the burns outweigh the validator payments.
I hadn't updated my knowledge on that. Since I thought that it was just going to be like static or deflationary.
That was my understanding as well.
Yeah, so ever since
that's because all the
ever
ETH
since
bros keep saying ultrasound money and make it sound like it's definitely deflationary. But it's
But
but
by
it's
the
not.
way,
It's not. It can go either way.
You were earlier today in our chat. You were talking about how Bitcoin's been pretty good in the bear as far as how
it's pumping at the moment. Actually,
comparatively, it's dropped. Not, nowhere near as much as altcoins, but ETH has also been very, very good.
Yes,
in the bear, hasn't it?
Yeah, better, even better. Someone tweeted at Sailor saying that if he had bought ETH instead of Bitcoin, he would be up like billions of dollars or $8 billion or some huge amount. But if you cherry pick data points, like if you could go and get. Like if you go and look at the day that he bought and you just find the coin that outperformed it over that period and then tweet at him and be like, you could have bought this. It's like, in retrospect, it's always easy, but it is interesting to know and supports what you're saying.
But do you think people like now that they're kind of ducking for cover into like getting out of like crypto, like let's say the alts, either they're going into BTC or ETH or they're going into stables. But do you really think that they're actually pouring money back into their actual bank accounts?
No, it looked like so.
I reckon people are just ducking for cover, and it's.
Well, what was interesting is I seen a chart. I can't remember who someone posted on Twitter, and it showed what's happening with the stable coins, and you got all this regulation going on in the US, and what it was actually doing was driving people away from USDC. Into Tether because they were perceiving the US as a risk now because they're just coming down hard on everything. You want to be out of that jurisdiction.
There's no benefit. There's no benefit to being to try and win favor with the regulators because they just shit on everyone. So it's like you might as well have the shit that's like offshore and not trying to interact with regulators because everyone's just gets fucked. So yeah, that was really interesting. I saw that chart as well. It was very telling. You saw USDC just taking a massive dive in total cap, and USDT
Now,
taking effectively the equal amount in the other direction.
What
and
are
what that had
people
a lot
actually?
to do with finance.
Well, just uncertainty in general in the US. Because it's not
Yeah.
just gone. What else was? Was it Prime Trust or something that was sort of where a lot of these companies were custodying their funds, and True USD used Prime Trust as well, but they had a. Now I'm sort of winging it here because I don't know all the details, but I've just seen briefly something saying that they're having some issues with Prime Trust. It didn't affect True USD too much because they have other banking partners, but that was one of their things that was impacted. So all the shit that's going on in the US happening outside of crypto has an impact on all of these coins that rely on that underlying system. Whether or not the funds, like you say, Bluey, are actually making it out of crypto and back into a bank account, that I'm not too sure about. But I think most people are happy just to sit in a stable until things pick up and then come back in.
That's what it feels like to me. I mean, I'm just basing off, like, everyone's still sticking around, even if people are depressed at the prices. People are like, so it's not as if like crypto.
No one's going
anywhere.
anywhere.
Like
No.
Yeah, but there's no other place to go.
Yeah, that's right.
Well,
What are you going to do?
They can make it hard to get on. They can make it hard to get on, and I think that's what they're doing. I think that's what I'm noticing. They are making it difficult for people to get their money into crypto, and I don't know where, and that's problematic, right? Because if people want to onboard and then there's too much friction,
but it's also opportunity.
Like,
it's also opportunity, hey? Like
Absolutely.
if you do go through the trouble of doing that. Yeah.
Well, look what's happening in our ecosystem with, the coins dropping below sacrifice. We had a lot of people crying and whinging about it. I think the thing you got to remember is it's not a get rich quick. It's not an IPO or those pump and dump coins. It's a solid crypto.
Let's go into that bit, Sammy. We're talking about HEX. Are we talking about HEX here?
We're talking about our whole ecosystem. So our main big boys, PulseX, HEX, EHEX, and ETH.
The thing about that, right, is that tons of people sacrificed HEX, and they sacrificed it at a certain USD price. So, and then we had the 2 years of the bear pretty much after those sacrifices. So all of these people who had that money are still drastically up when it actually turns into. And the other thing is that because of the sacrifice points and because a lot of people went into pools, people actually got double what that sacrifice was. So there's still a lot of people who are well above water in terms of the actual dollar value.
Yeah, absolutely. But I think also, I had hi Ron, Coach Ron, if you're watching, one of the Melbourne guys. He messaged me and he said, all my onboards are upset that they can get Pulse and PulseChain below sacrifice price, and a lot of people reply to the tweet and saying, well, the thing is that this is opportunity now. This is a chance to dollar cost average in, and there's a chance to get a lot more than what you had in the beginning. And I mean, I don't know about everyone, but I expected this. I'm not a psychic, but I did expect it to dip. And that's the thing about, I think some people just over leveraged and didn't think of the opportunity that may arise once launch happened.
The comment that I will make is, one, it is not without risk for people to get a better deal. And two, those are the people that are going to actually help form the bottom. So it's like you get to choose whether are you mad at the people who got a better deal than you, but also were contributing to saving your ass and forming a bottom.
Smart people buy the bottom and sell tops. True.
So
So I'm happy for people to get a better deal than me if they're saving my ass from going lower. Like, is my point. So,
Okay,
I guess
so there's been a few comments in. If someone came to you and said, I'm based in Australia and I want to get PulseChain, what currently is the most streamlined way to go from bank account to having Pulse in a wallet?
I tweeted this and people gave like really good replies. It's basically like you have to just look at it as a two-stage process, right? It's like you look at the fiat gateway to get your dollars into crypto, and then you're basically then one step away from getting Pulse.
So what you're saying is you would buy something like ETH or
I think it came down to, at the moment, it's like it would be a centralized exchange would be the cheapest, easiest way to get dollars into crypto, and then from there you buy ETH or something, and then I think there's even exchanges where you can actually buy Pulse directly, but that have fiat gateways.
Are they a fiat gateway for Aussies then?
See,
Probably
I
not.
never.
I'm trying to get rid of that one. Yeah, I'm trying to get rid of that one.
You want to have minimal steps. You want to have the minimum number of steps.
Yeah. So
I think right now, in my opinion, can I just give my opinion? What I would do if I'm getting someone onboarded right now?
Yeah, do it.
I would say put your Australian dollars into an exchange. Do that, and then get ETH. Send the ETH to a wallet that you custody yourself, and then connect up through Rabby.
Already too many steps, bro.
No, dude. We're crypto.
I'm just joking.
It's going to be this.
Joking.
You know what I mean? It's like
you lost me. You lost me at send.
This is what
you lost
I'm
me
just
at
going to hang on.
But send your money,
because there might. Let me finish this, because there might be someone watching right now who doesn't know how to get on, and this is the way that I would actually get someone on. I would do exactly this. I would tell them to sign up with an exchange, get some ETH, send it to a wallet that they custody. So assuming they've got that knowledge and all of that, and then use Rabby wallet, connect up through Rabby. Rabby gives you the option to get some Pulse on the Pulse address by doing the gas swap or whatever. There's a function in that wallet that allows you to buy like $20 and use your ETH on the Ethereum side to get the Pulse on the other side. And it's not the best deal in the world. It's like, I think they charge you 20% like for that, but it's like $20 or $50. So who cares, right? And then that means that you've got Pulse waiting in that address on that side. And then you just go to the bridge and send the stuff over on the bridge.pulsechain.com. Send your Ethereum over as wrapped Ethereum, and then on that side you'll have to swap it over. Unfortunately, that is all right. Look, guys, I know that's too many steps, but it's early days.
Let me fuck you up.
That's how you get people onboarded.
Not like as in I didn't want to have to do this, but this is epic. So Coin Tiger has Australian dollars and HEX and Pulse. Boom. One step.
Who the hell is Coin Tiger? I've never even heard of it.
But how do you go?
I haven't used it. So use it your own risk. But
so you send from your bank account to that exchange?
It's got AUD, Coin Tiger, Australian dollars, Pulse, HEX. Let me see if it's got Pulse X. No, it doesn't. HEX and Pulse. And which HEX is this?
So Flames is saying OKX is a fiat gateway for Aussies. Is that confirmed? Yeah. And Spider 20% is massive. That's only for a small gas transaction. So
that's only for an initial amount of Pulse to get like the gas, so that you can swap your WETH over into Pulse or whatever else you want to swap.
But do they have AUD?
It's like $20. It's like big deal.
There's a couple of other ways.
You get charged more than that on the exchange.
There's a couple of other ways that no one has ever talked about. The simplest way is provide value, like a good or a service, to somebody who has Pulse and get them to send it to you, right? Give someone a massage who has Pulse and get them to pay you in Pulse. That's the simplest way.
What kind of $100,000?
Another way.
Are you saying your simple way involves starting a business?
Come on.
You're starting a business.
If you have a business,
way of
if you have if you have a business, offer to take payments in crypto.
Absolutely.
Right?
I mean, that's a great idea just generally. But I
Yeah.
don't think that's the fastest, simplest way for someone who wants to just get
But
the coin.
I know, but we're just discussing different ways. Another
Just-
way you could do, another anonymous way you could do is through, there's a peer-to-peer Monero, I forget what it's called. But what you could do is find somebody who wants to swap Monero into,
Pulse.
no, find somebody who wants, you buy Monero. So somebody who wants Aussie dollars, you send them the Aussie dollars to their account, they send you the Monero. You do it through that website. It's on beetroot.world. You can find the peer-to-peer service, and then you have Monero, and you bridge the Monero into Pulse, also on beetroot.world.
Does anyone know if there's a reverse lookup so that you can go on one of these cap ranking sites and search for your currency and find all of the centralized exchanges that take that currency? Is there a way to do that? Because that would be the way to do it, and then you just cross-reference that with exchanges that have Hex and Pulse and shit.
There was. Have you guys heard of BISC? I would love there to be some sort of OTC BISC way to do it. That would be awesome. That would be awesome.
I reckon the easiest way is just through CoinSpot. I've never had a problem getting on because when they got to get in and they got to get out. No, they don't.
Okay.
They
don't.
I think
because we were really trying to find like the easiest way that has because every additional hurdle, even if it doesn't sound like that big a deal, is one more reason why someone might be like, too hard basket.
But is the bridge that much of a hurdle? Really, guys, is the bridge that much of a hurdle?
For a noob, massively. For a noob,
dude, it's like using an exchange. It's easier than an exchange. It's like easier than an exchange.
And you've got to learn at some point.
You guys have been in crypto too long. If you think that a noob would find that easy.
Yeah, but how are you going to go? How are you going to learn?
Hang on.
You got to go through it to learn. That's just the nature
like,
of learning.
Are we talking about like a computer geek that's new to crypto, or like a noob who is like a not technical savvy person? Come on, man.
They're going to have trouble with every aspect of it.
Absolutely.
Dude, I've onboarded people who wanted me to hold their hand with signing up to an exchange. I'm like, bro, it's like signing up for it's like signing up to anything.
That's just them being scared.
Like buying an airplane ticket.
Assuming it's going to be harder than it is.
Yeah, but that's like the bridge is easy as hell to use, man. If you want a bridge, people, I guess, maybe they just don't know what happens with the bridge. With the bridge, if you're with an EVM compatible chain, your address on Ethereum is like you've got the exact same address on PulseChain. So if you send stuff from Ethereum to PulseChain, it's going to end up in the same address on PulseChain. It's not that hard, man.
You just made me realize.
You have to wait maybe.
You just made me realize. Sorry, Sammy. It's not necessarily always a technical difficulty. It could just be fear as well. Like when someone's using that bridge, they could also be fearful that it's not going to work or that they're going to do something wrong or whatever like that. If you have this shit like CoinTiger, where they literally just sign up for the exchange, send their dollars in and buy Pulse, and they've got it. And then if they want, they can. And then if they start to... you know what? I assume that any exchange that does fiat currencies does KYC. I've never seen a non-KYC fiat accepting crypto exchange.
Yeah. So the way a lot of them are doing, I was just looking at OKX, is they outsource that responsibility to XR, Simplex, and obviously Visa and MasterCard things. So they don't actually need to do the KYC. Because the other companies do that,
so they become more like a merchant than
they're just plugging. Yeah, they're right. Yeah, basically a merchant plugging into that service, that on-ramp service.
That's smart.
But that also comes at a. There you go. It also comes with a high fee still. All the banks and Simplex and all that. They're not cheap. I think they're like 3% or something like that.
But there's still got to be an easier way for onboarding, and I think that'll come with time.
Yeah, it's called a fucking bull market.
So did everyone have one?
People will work it out. Hey?
Should we assign numbers to each of us, and then in the chat people can vote by just entering and chatting that number? So I want to be number 1, and mine is Coin Tiger, where it's like the PLS and the HEX are on the exchange and it has the fiat gateway.
Is it Coin?
Bluey's is starting a business. Bluey's is starting a business. Day 43 was using the bridge.
No. Mine is Gobbies. Blowjobs.
No, that's Bluey's one. He's already taken business. Did Jexa have one?
I don't have one. That's what I'm trying to find. Like,
oh, that's right.
have
You were
a
the
good
question
answer.
asker, so that's fine. And then Sammy, what was yours?
What was mine?
Did you have a like a
Preferred
option for like a
preferred method of onboarding?
how you would think would be the best, even if it doesn't exist? You can just like make one up, like that doesn't necessarily have to exist.
What an option
Of
for
what would be the easiest way to onboard someone in Australia into Pulse?
To Pulse.
it would be a front end that you can put your credit card details in that gives you I don't know, sets you up
That exists.
Yeah,
Yeah, it does.
Transact.
Oh shit! You might have beaten me. Damn it!
Does
I think Sammy may have actually beaten me, but I definitely took out podium position number 2. Like I'm.
But where, Sammy? Where's that one? Tangent? Do you know where that is? Where is there one that goes direct to Pulse?
Sorry. There
Just
was
MetaMask.
Oh, sorry, that's right.
And that's a Pulse,
PLS
yeah, right.
Burn. PLS Burn have got a link on their website where it uses a combination of MoonPay with a bridge, and so I forgot to mention this. It's MoonPay acts as the fiat gateway, and then the bridges from whatever you're able to get with MoonPay, because MoonPay doesn't have Pulse, but it's got all the other shit like ETH and Bitcoin and stuff like that. So
that's what
you MoonPay, so you use your credit card or Apple Pay or Google Pay or whatever into MoonPay, and then whatever you have as the output cryptocurrency, you put that as the input cryptocurrency, or you put the input address of the bridge as where you want it to be paid, and it just pays it straight into the bridge, and then you end up with Pulse.
So from Pulse.
Thanks for the super chat,
Pulse
Paladin YYZ.
And that's a vote
Appreciate
for
it.
my way, by the way.
So from
Tangents.
Pulse Burn,
That's a money vote for my way.
That's a money
Yes.
vote. Oh,
Bluey's winning 20. This has been changed. Fuck
Yeah,
shit!
like
Bluey's
1, 2,
getting
3, 4,
super
5
chat
votes.
votes.
It's
What
in
the
money.
heck?
It's in
Bluey's getting
dollars.
super votes. That's not fair.
It's USD.
Yeah, that's pretty hectic.
I don't want to burst
that
your
has
bubble.
to be.
Pulse Burn, you can't go from Aussie dollars. I can
Oh
see.
shit! I didn't realize. So
That's
it's
got-
US
That's
only.
just all. That's all crypto.
But hold up. With all the Apple Pay, Google Pay, and credit cards, it might charge you in
see
US
that shit
dollars,
on
but
there.
you can probably still use Australian cards, and it probably just charges in US dollars. You know, when you buy something from overseas and it just charges your card and it just uses an exchange rate or whatever, you usually get screwed. But
Have you actually been used it? There is not an option to go from fiat that I can see.
so I think you went to the PLS Burn website, and then you up the top where it says buy PLS.
Yep.
So it says on ramp to so you might have to so I think if you watch the tutorial, it tells you what you do is see how it's like ETH to PLS,
Yeah.
and how it says you have to send a certain amount of ETH. Then you go to MoonPay, and over on MoonPay you get the input address that this gives you of where you meant to send the ETH. You put that as where you want your MoonPay shit to be paid to. Then you use your credit card to pay, and then it'll send the ETH to that address, which ends up being the input address of this bridge, and then gives you the Pulse to your shit.
It's all too hard, and it's got to be.
So,
an easy way.
I mean, it's similar to what 43 said in terms of step numbers, but it just seems a little bit less. You don't have to sign up for an account, like you don't have to sign up for an exchange, and you don't have to understand how the shit works. You literally just put one address in the other one and just pay it, like pay the bill. So I think that would fall somewhere between me and 43. So I know I said we'd let the crowd decide, but I'm deciding. It was Sammy won. I came second. 43
You can't do
came.
that, dude.
Oh, sorry.
I'm getting way more votes than you.
Then this
I'm
one that
getting
we just
tons
came
more
up
votes
with
than
comes
you.
in between me
JFK,
and
Pulse for Pulses. Happy signs of happy anyway.
I think Blue
Like,
Bomb
Oh wait, no,
totally
wins.
win,
actually,
dude.
I think Blue
actually,
Bomb
once we
wins.
worked out that Sammy's one doesn't have AUD, then I win. So it's me, then Sammy, then this one that we just talked about, which is Sammy's one actually, and then 43, and then Bluey. Wait, what does
People
the
are
crowd
voting.
say?
They're
What's
saying
everyone
me,
voting?
mate. I'm killing
What? Starting a business
Bluey wins,
is the
dude.
one that you guys are voting for.
it.
Are you guys?
Tangent just rigged the
Yeah.
election here. Tangent is rigging
He's
the
turned mine
election,
into
just like
starting
saying,
a
"I
business."
won, obviously I won,"
But
and then you guys came
mine's so
last.
simple. It's an exchange that has dollars and pulse. How can it get any
Well,
easier than that? How would that?
Post is coming out.
How could it get easier?
Post
How
is
could it
gonna
get
win.
easier than Blue Bum? Like then
Given
Blue
your-
Bum's way.
given
That's
your
the
rub and
easiest
tug.
way in the world.
So Blue Bum's way is easy from the point where you've actually acquired the client, but in that setup, you have to find someone who is willing to pay you for. So it's almost you've got to think of. Oh, it's almost like
Hang
a
on,
barter
is Blue Bum
economy.
doing the massaging or
So
receiving the
you're
massaging?
going to a barter economy.
this
You're
needs to
going to a
be,
barter economy where now you have to find the person who wants
Yeah.
your service and has the product that you want, i.e.,
Yeah.
someone who
Yeah.
has polls
It's,
who
it's
wants
called
That's not
capitalism.
barter.
That's
It's called a market
as,
economy.
No,
that's not barter.
That's called a barter economy. That is more difficult.
No, that's not barter. That's pulse
It's-
for
It's simple.
a rub and
It's
tug.
simple. And it's at the human
It's-
level.
That's not barter. That's paying for
I'm
it.
saying
in Pulse.
it's effectively like a barter economy because
No,
you have to
no.
find.
Barter would be
Let me
if,
finish,
if,
let me
if there was
finish.
a rub and tug and then he gave a rub and tug back.
No,
that would be
no.
barter.
I'm saying it's as difficult as barter economy because you need to find someone who has that specific currency that you want. So the reason
that's what I said.
The reason,
I said find someone who has pulse and offer them a value in some way. Offer them a service or a good. You can also sell them your car.
yeah, I understood.
You could also,
I understood the mechanism, but do you see the difficulty that you have to go and actually find someone who has the currency that you? So you can't just offer that service to anyone. It has to be someone who has polls. So now you've got now your potential clients are like 100,000 people in the entire world. Most of them are probably not in the same physical locale as you. And then you have to hope that those people want the service or product that you are providing. Do you realize how difficult this is? It's nearly
not
impossible.
necessarily.
In
Not
all
necessarily.
honesty, most
because
of them
because there are
probably want rub and
also
tugs.
a lot of people in the system. Now hang on, there are also people in the system who want to cash out their crypto. So it's about finding them and finding trusted relationships with those people.
Yeah, but I'm saying like running a successful business is difficult enough when you can sell to anyone. Now you've got like this subset of people that it's just more
No,
difficult.
it's an option.
Like-
No, you just do it an option. You can pay with crypto. I accept.
Yeah,
I
it's
accept,
an option,
you know.
but it's not easier than something like this where someone can just take dollars that they
you
already
go.
have.
Hey, Bluey,
There you go.
Red Squirrel would pay Blue to not rub and
There
The
you go.
audience,
I'm
the
getting-
audience
I'm
is
getting-
killing
I'm
me.
getting paid to
money
not have a
audience is
business.
killing me tonight. They are absolutely killing me. They are making this so difficult for me. I'll wait.
I just think you underestimate how popular rub and tugs are.
I'll concede the win. I'll concede the win. The
That's the easiest
comments,
way.
the audience has decided that you win this one.
So
Yes,
I'm-
$41 US, 41 Paladin YYZ.
What the fuck? The downside is that you would.
Awesome.
That
That's
would make
hectic.
it awkward at the Vegas meetup, but
hectic.
I think you'd get over it.
So I think
By the
we
way,
helped everyone
Bluey,
out with
Bluey
that.
didn't say it had to
Thought
be
exercise.
sexual. By the way, he said just any product or service. Like he didn't.
Yeah, and I was thinking more like Thai massage. I wasn't thinking massage. I was thinking like a normal massage. That was
Like
the
a regular,
example, but you know,
like a regular,
like a nice massage. You know what I mean? $100, $120. Bang. Pay in crypto.
Just, I can
Okay,
read
but I think-
43's mind. I can read 43's mind.
I think the important thing with onboarding is that when you get people in, they've got to learn how to get out as well. So it's got to be easy for them to learn how to get in and learn how to get out. And that's not talked about a lot. About you can have crypto, but you could sell it if you needed money. You could sell at the bottom. Like, no, just because you have crypto doesn't mean you're going to get rich. And it's not talked about enough in crypto how people get out and take profits. That's what I think as a woman in crypto.
That's a good point, Sammy.
I've been using Bit Refill heaps. That's been awesome.
What is that?
So it's like a
What is that?
Bitrefill.com, and you buy gift cards. I pay for my Spotify, Airbnb, hotels, airplanes.
Whoa.
They have ones. They have like you can go to. There are supermarket ones. They have it all over the world. You can even get ones where you like get a credit card for $1,000 and go and pay with stuff on that.
How do you refill it?
With
Like, which
crypto,
crypto
they
do
they
you
they,
refill
they
it with?
accept all sorts of cryptos. They don't accept Pulse, and I would love for us to get onto them accepting Pulse. That would be brilliant. But ETH, Bitcoin Cash, there's a whole ton of them they accept.
I'll
That's
shout
the
at them.
easiest
I'll
way to-
shout at them right
Refill.
now on Twitter. I'll shout at them
And
to take Pulse.
do you have to
This
KYC
is one of
for
my
all of
things
that?
I
or
love doing.
how do-
No, no KYC.
So what they just send you?
So how big are these cards? What's the maximum size cards? That
Oh,
they
like
send you?
$1,000, $2,000, but you can top it up. They have limits to how much you can do. Like it's for living. It's for living. It's not for like going and buying a property in Costa Rica or anything like that.
Yeah, that's heaps.
That's going to
though.
have
That's
to be
heaps.
another way. Yeah, but you can live off of it, pretty much.
Is their logo like a black and red kind of circle
Yeah.
thing?
Black.
Bitrefill.com. BITREFILL.com.
So what? How does it work? They send you out.
Ted DeFi has donated another $4.99 to the Discourse Syndicate.
There you go.
Start an OnlyFans and do audio porn.
So do they
Some
actually
That's
send?
ideas.
a good idea.
Bear market ideas right here.
Bear market ideas. If you can find a way to give value to people, people will pay for it. It's as simple as that.
People buy bath water
And this is what we should be. People buy used underwear.
What's
there you
that,
go.
Sammy?
Used underwear for Pulse.
Could you repeat that?
people buy bath water from people and also use underwear. In Japan, there's vending machines that sell dirty panties.
There you
And
go.
I even saw a lady on TikTok. Well, she's no lady selling her farts in a jar. No.
I think I heard about that.
Farts in a jar.
Come on, that means we can sell anything, really. It's got to be smart.
And that's what we should be heading towards anyway. Like
What?
a world where we don't have to go through banks at all.
Vending machines with panties in them.
There is. I'll send a picture in our group chat. You Google it. They have them.
But like, let's sidestep the whole banking thing totally. Like those guys are just making it too difficult. We don't need them. Like, offer a good or service and earn crypto, pay for stuff in crypto.
Yeah.
I'm just reading some of these comments. They're making me laugh.
Wait, so
can buy-
anyone who's watching this live or replay, I'm going to tweet at these guys. You guys know how to do it. Help me light this shit up on Twitter. And this has worked in the past. This has worked really well that we have smashed on services until they've realized that it's in their best interest to include PulseChain.
So
Sure.
include a picture, include only one hashtag.
I'll grab a picture because that actually
Only one hashtag.
Oh, you know all the rules.
Well, I read that.
Did you read that
Twitter thing? Yeah, it was
it's
like
one
okay.
hashtag, picture or video, and then you just want to get as many likes as possible.
Yeah, and so
You
retweet, like quote retweet. Is that better? Probably.
You got to have text as well.
Likes is the like number one thing with the most boost is likes.
And text.
I'll go and get
I think if you just put an image.
We've got a question. We've got a question in the chat. Maybe Jexa, can you comment on liquidity provider fee on PulseChain?
Can you?
PLS fee was dirt cheap, but I had to pay 25 USD liquidity provider fee to convert 3K of wrapped Ethereum to Pulse.
What?
Can you
No, you
comment on
didn't.
liquidity provider fee
Say
for
what?
PulseChain? Pulse fee was dirt.
It's a bit hard for us to comment without some transaction.
Yeah.
Without the transaction.
I don't know why you
to see what
I don't
happened.
know
There's
why
no
you'd be
liquidity
paying
provider fee.
$25.
It's just a transaction. It's cents that it costs to provide liquidity. Cents
Yeah.
to put it in the
Maybe he
farm.
means he's sending the WETH over from Ethereum. Maybe he's talking about the Ethereum fee to PulseChain.
Oh, the bridge. That's an Ethereum
Bridge
transaction
fee.
fee.
Yeah, that would make sense for a bridge cost to get WETH
Yeah, right.
over for sure.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Hey, by the way,
Nothing you
while
can
we're
do
on the
about that.
topic,
You earn a lot in ink, basically. You just have to know that you're earning it in ink, and that is going to be a price that goes up and down, and so that means that how much your reward's going to go up and down, and you're not going to get any liquidity provider rewards if you're getting ink, if you're farming, because they're all in the V1.
I wonder if they're saying that they done a trade to convert WETH into Pulse, so you could go in on both sides, and therefore you might have got that slippage.
But that's a sense. That transaction, the slippage is different.
Yeah, the slippage on the trade, yeah, which.
But on such a small amount.
Yeah, it
wouldn't
shouldn't
be
have
that
been.
much.
It shouldn't have been that much. Yeah.
while we're on the topic, sort of, the last couple of streams I've been meaning, since that stream where Day 43 asked me about this thing to do with getting out of crypto, there's a website, I think it's nokYConly.com, and it talks all about why. I'll just double check that address. By the way, I just tweeted that out with an image, the one about the bit refill thing. So this one, nokYConly.com, and it's like, it not only talks about ways that you can move in and out of crypto with no KYC, it also talks a lot about why it's so important, and it does a really good job of conveying that information concisely, so that would help you to be able to explain to other people why it's so important as well.
Yeah, it's a great site.
Yep. Yeah, I haven't checked out a lot of those on there. Yeah.
And it looks like
there was some.
well, we saw RH tweeting. Well,
Go
we
on.
saw RH tweeting out about Tornado, and so
Yeah, I was about to say. I was about to jump.
Guys,
into
I'm
that.
so impressed.
So there's a
with
new.
this tweet. Like literally, people in the crowd, like in the audience, must have been like literally on my Twitter waiting for me to pull the trigger, because it's like 6 retweet. Like I clicked tweet and I got a notification saying there were 6 retweets. I've never seen anything like that. Insane. Insane. So thank you, everyone. Much appreciated. Sorry, Sammy.
How's everyone's farming going? I mean, mine slowed down a little bit, but even though the price of PulseChain's gone down, I'm still happy because I want to accumulate anyway. So if I was to pull my liquidity now, then obviously you could call it impermanent loss, but I'm getting so much more PulseChain anyway, and that's what I wanted to do in the first place. So I wouldn't be upset if it went either way. And while I'm earning ink, even though it's like nowhere near what it was, man, it's free money. Like, who could say no to that shit? Well, I'm not saying no. I'm just going to keep going. I haven't even tried the V2 liquidity provider. I've heard that it's not as good as V1, so I'm just sitting pretty.
Sammy, it's very interesting that a lot of people didn't want to be involved in the ones that was PLS paired with a stable, because everyone assumed that PLS was going to go mooning and then you would wreck your bag. And it ended up being the opposite, that was actually a good way to get more pulse because the price went down. So that was quite unexpected. I'm the same as you. I'm happy on the V1 farms, just getting the ink token and that sort of thing. I had some in the Bitcoin with Pulse, which effectively was a bit like having a stable coin. And getting, so effectively, like you said, I would have more Pulse now from that pool.
Yeah.
And the APR is definitely slowing down, as people are saying in the chat. And people just have to realize that APR is completely dependent on the price of ink.
Yep.
So
Yeah. So if ink price went up by like 10 or 20% right now, then those APRs would be like higher. Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah. So you're still getting the same amount of ink.
What about trading volume as well?
No, it has nothing to do with that. It's actually
unfortunately not.
Actually, you just earn ink. It's just time in the pool. It's got nothing to do with how much it's actually being traded. It's literally just
the
time.
The volume would have impacted the amount of fees you got if that hadn't been a bug, like if that hadn't been an error in the code. But the amount of liquidity, your amount of liquidity provided relative to the total pool matters, in terms of how much ink you get. The price of ink matters, and the price of the assets in the pool, because that APR it's looking at how much you're earning in dollar value of ink and comparing that to the dollar value of the assets that you have in the pool to give you that idea, because it's APR relative to your investment. So all of those things are fluctuating. The price of both assets, the price of the ink, and your percentage of the pool. Yeah. So like it's just like so dynamic of what you're actually going to end up with. So maybe that's a reason to harvest with reasonable frequency, because you don't know how these things are going to move around.
And why is ink moving the way it does? Like, why did it go up to 80? It was just a demand that it went up to 80 bucks and then fell back down to 12 bucks.
There wasn't much of it around back then. So like at the start, there were very few people that had it, and you could only have it if you had been farming it. So the supply was very, very, very limited. So you had this very asymmetric supply and demand dynamic. And so if there was any demand at all, it just sent the price to the moon. And then
so why was there demand for it then?
Mystery.
So
it was mystery because no one knew much about it.
Good point.
And so everyone's imaginations went into overdrive of what it could be in the future.
Yeah.
And they started imagining, he's going to do this, and it's going to do this, and Richard Hart's going to do this,
lowest
and blah,
cap,
blah, 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 blah.
Lowest market cap out of the 4 projects. Maybe some speculation that some whale was going to like buy up the supply later. Effectively a speculative play, I think, was why people were buying it early.
Complete speculation, yeah.
I heard some people thinking that they thought it was going to be the governance token as well.
Some people thought that there was going to be a pool. Some people thought there was going to be a single asset pool that you would put the ink into and get, like, I don't know, more ink or something.
Well, hang on. On the website and in the test nets, it's been PulseX, which is going to be that governance token. Yeah, that's how we vote. Yeah. That's how we can do one-sided staking, and that's how we can do to earn some other kind of reward party token or whatever that was. And that hasn't come out yet. But the tab is there. Like, it's going to be worked on at some point, hey? And I mean, Richard's always been the least keen.
Yeah, where I heard people speculating on the ink thing as well, about it being governance, and I think it is like people are wanting it to be more, but it just is like
with those single asset pools. Is the deal do you guys think that was it that other projects were going to basically supply the tokens to be given out as the rewards? Is that right?
That was the idea. You
would be staking PLSX and getting paid in
some other
random tokens. I think that's cool as fuck. That'd be so cool. Like, as in just.
I mean, if you're gonna hold a liquid, you may as well stake it. I suppose.
Yeah.
But it's not a real stake anyway, because you can always just.
It's
take
not
it
a real
out.
stake. Yeah, it's not.
Like, it's a very notional kind of stake. Yeah.
It's fake yield, like, as in the yield is being supplied artificially by projects that basically effectively want exposure. Like they're effectively paying for exposure on the website, right?
I suppose.
Yeah. Like, I mean, sorry, I shouldn't frame it that way.
They're giving it away. They're airdropping.
Yeah.
Runesky.
I think that's
your
cool.
comment.
I want that shit to turn on. I think that would be cool.
Sorry, Runesky's got a comment. No, it's not a mystery. Smart contract of ink says it's a governance token. Only once it will be fully distributed. This is not a rumor. So how long do you think it takes to fully distribute something like that?
It's inflation forever.
Oh,
yeah.
It's
smart contract.
Well, let's say it's got a now I haven't confirmed this, but let's say it's got the mechanic about it, where it starts off with 100% of the supply first year, 50% as much next year. That's still like a 50-year time frame to distribute out when you do something like that. So
yeah, what's the definition
it's forever.
of fairly distributed?
Yeah, it gets so after I think it's either between 38 and 50 years, it gets to the point where it's the amount getting is small.
It's all.
So
can you
now
guys feature this comment from Klaz?
So
sorry, Jack, so you go.
I'm not shitting on what you're saying, Rinsky, but I just don't know. Like, it is all rumor at this point. Like, no one's confirmed anything as far as I'm concerned, and people may say that in the contract, but
I don't think it did say that the ink was going to be used as the governance token. It said there was going to be voting and delegating in the contract. That's true, but I don't know that just having ink is decide of those holders are the people who decide which pools get the ink. It'd make more sense, but I thought it was the PulseX that was the idea. That was what was going to be the governance token. Like, PulseX is the token of the exchange.
And maybe ink had a few extra features programmed into it for future. Who knows? I don't know. I don't know enough about it. But yeah, if you're waiting on that full distribution, it's going to be a long time.
It's all guesswork though, because it's got a master chef, and that master chef can change anything at any time. So all of these assumptions that people are making are all just hopium at the moment.
You know how politicians say there. Sorry, you go.
The ink code is a fork of yams. That's what it says in the ink contract. Damn. It's a fork of yams.
And
which was something that there was
there's no way.
There was something that was like yams had a. Yeah. No, sorry. You go.
I think I've got a big delay on my end. The ink code can't be almost identical to PulseX because PulseX has been fully distributed. So, yeah.
It says in the and it says it's a fork of yams, and if you go and look at what yams was, it actually had some major bug in it or something. But obviously they would have fixed that. But I think that was the most successful. Like, I remember Richard was looking at all of the different farmings and what they did, like cake, and how they sort of set it all up, and he thought that yams was the most successful for what he wanted. But he was never very keen. Out of all of the tokens that he's made, the ink was the one that he was least sort of excited about because it's inflation forever.
Richard said he didn't even care about ink. He just called it, basically didn't even acknowledge ink or say anything about ink.
Yeah, but people love not listening to what he said or making up just effectively implying that he's a liar or something, and just coming up with these narratives that just completely go against words that have literally come out of his mouth. They love that shit. So I just thought that obviously 43 is not here at the moment, but Klaz had a comment that made me laugh my ass off. She was saying Richard's in cryostasis until the full 5555. He decided to just ice out until the first 15-year stint ends on a 555 stake.
So Rinsky has said that actually there is a comment specifically in the Master Chef contract, which was a fork of Sushi Chef, just as an aside, that was specifically written for ink. So maybe he's right. Maybe ink is going to be the.
Yeah, but I think what we've done is we've taken the sushi swap dynamics, but then we've bolted as well to be this other token. So maybe a lot of the stuff that is in those contracts is just left over or has been left in place, but may not necessarily be used. Who knows? I know it's all speculation at this point.
Yeah.
So
I mean, when it
has
first came
anyone
out, and it
known-
was go for it.
Go, Blue, you go. This is a different subject. Go.
Thanks,
No,
Reeskies. I'll check it out.
Just boring. Yeah.
I was just going to say, has anyone been able to access hex.go.com on Ethereum or on PulseChain? Because I know I haven't. I've been using Icosa app front end. But
Richard has
someone in the
tweeted
comments
Icosa a couple
say-
of times.
Yeah. But I suppose
So-
that's like the last thing on their list to really give a shit about. They want to get everything else working and then they'll worry about that.
Yeah.
There's a whole list
Also-
of places now. Like I saw Das Baum in Hex Pro. He someone asked, and he just gave a list of all the places you could do it now. So I don't. I always
Or
just
is
use
it
the Costa app as
ending
well. 'Cause that's
stakes?
as well.
Mm.
Also,
Yeah.
on one of my Twitter spaces, I did comment that with these sorts of things, if it's not a problem that's affecting everyone, it's harder to debug. So if you've got some people saying, hey, it's not working for me, but other people are saying it works fine, that could mean that when the devs go to test it out, it works fine for them, which means it's very difficult to debug something that you're not experiencing the issue. So they may have actually already looked at it and not had a chance to actually work out what is wrong for the few people that it's not working for.
Yeah, I think most people have just gone and used something else, which is fine. That's the beauty of the Hex community, is there are other options. I do have one. I think I put my concern up today. There is no way I can see that you can good accounting a stake on PulseChain. So you can't do good accounting on someone else's stake, from what I can see.
Oh shit!
From what I remember, I think Alex was going to work on that for the Icosa app. I think that was on his list.
Did you try the ones
Because
that used to
that
work
wasn't
like
an option.
backup hex.xyz or?
I think they're still working.
Hex, yeah, backup Hex, even on Ethereum, looks like the data on that is way out of whack.
Oh,
They're discussing some of that in the Hex.
So
Hex
normally
dev.
you can do on Ethereum. Normally on Ethereum you can do it on
Yeah.
Etherscan, but because I
You
think
can't do it on
the
PulseScan yet
PulseScan
because
is
Hex
not-
hasn't been verified
right.
on PulseScan yet.
Yeah.
Yeah. So Jexa, did you look into the option that I mentioned in that tweet? Like, you know how there's those sites that have like, for example, I don't think one-click DApp will allow you to do that, but there might be others that allow you to connect up to any RPC, like any EVM.
Yeah, I'll try
chain.
Remix and see if I can get that to work, because that seems like it's going to be the only way I can get it to do it. But yeah,
I'm sure there's a way to do it. I'm sure that there's a way to do it, but it might get technical.
Do you guys think that we could just get Etherscan? Because I think Morales Money needs Etherscan for be able to, for DEX tools to be able to give the safety ratings, and also to be able to see for contract review or some shit. I don't know exactly what's up, but I think everything would just be easier if we had Etherscan.
Someone's
for
got
PulseChain.
Someone's got to foot the bill.
What is it? Is it 60 grand a month or something? 20 grand a month? 600 grand a month?
I thought I heard someone say it was like
it was something psycho, wasn't it?
It was $1 million to set up or something like that. Or
fucking hell,
not cheap.
Did you guys hear Somi's video where he was talking about all these people asking, well, all this money was sacked and it's just sitting there, what's going to happen to it? And he was going through the game theory of
no expectations.
That was a really interesting video. It was a really interesting video.
I enjoyed it. I love Somi's stuff.
No, he's amazing. He's hilarious. Yeah.
Yeah.
And
and he gives some great information as well.
Were
But
there
I
any
just sort of
in particular that you liked?
Well, I just thought this one was like a really interesting like game theory, like in terms of, okay, let's say there is a person with like a massive amount of money. How do you, it's like that changes the whole psychology of, I mean, he was talking about it like if you have friends, you want to know that those friends are true friends. And so, but also it was like about keeping the mystery of what's going to happen with that money. I can't even like articulate it really well now. It was a really interesting. I have to watch it again.
I think you
hit the
nail on. Yeah, I think you hit the nail on the head with if you've got a wealthy friend and he's got all these hangers on, got his entourage on, and then as soon as the fun times end, when the money runs out, his friends hang around. Yeah.
No, I really enjoyed what Somi said, because I think there's a lot of concern in our community about, you know, how it all played out from the beginning of the sacrifice to what was the price at launch, went up, went down. But you know, that's so Richard Hart. And there was another clip released of him saying basically it was better to launch a coin in a bear market so you get a hockey stick candle for, was it 50 weeks until you hit the bull market, and you're getting rid of all the lettuce baby paper hands that you don't want around. And that's so Richard. He doesn't reward like sooks and pussies. He wants people like to hold and be strong. You know, like they want to be. They got to be in the game. You got to be in it. Get rich quick overnight. All these people crying and sooking because they didn't 90x like some dog shit doing.
Okay, so, and I think everyone relies way too much on Richard. Do you think Richard made the chart look like?
No.
He wasn't the one pushing the sell button. So it's fucking. Everyone's pointing fingers, but the whole network, the whole market has done that. Like no one else can be held responsible for it. If you want the price to go
I
up,
thought you meant just in general. Like he would never manipulate markets like that. That would be.
But
dumb.
I'm saying, I'm saying
you meant specifically the downward trend, right?
I'm talking markets like.
This is not.
You go.
This would not be the chart that he wanted. Like he would not go in. Like when he launched HEX, he wouldn't go in 3 years. I want the chart to look like it is right now.
True.
Like that's the biggest argument, that he's not manipulating jack shit.
Yeah.
Yes. Agreed. Yeah. Agreed.
I'm sure he would have liked it.
There actually
went up, but
there are a bunch of videos. There are a bunch of videos of haters. Sorry, you go.
Well, it is interesting how like when HEX launched, it kind of went the same way, and then like it pumped, and then it totally dumped. And this is kind of, and the Pulse and PulseX and everything is kind of, and HEX now has done the same kind of thing.
Most
and it's like. I guess it's just the difference of the timelines, hey? Yeah.
All of them do it. So they have an ICO buy-in where ETH done the same thing. You have an ICO buy-in or a private round or whatever it is where people have gotten in at a certain price, goes to public launch, everyone gets FOMO, buys it off, then everyone that's in the money starts selling down. That's just what markets do. And it's not a crypto thing. That's a coin-based listing thing. That's what IPOs do.
Thing, eh? Yeah.
That's what IPOs and markets do.
Yeah.
So it is what it is.
It is kind of. We have to acknowledge it's disappointing that HEX wasn't different. Like we thought HEX would be different because of the tokenomics of it. But it looks it's looking like it's just following all the other stuff.
Well, they're all linked now though. That's the thing. So when good times come around, they're all going to pump together, but
it's all going to pump together.
Yeah. When the rough times are here, that's the double-edged sword that is Hart's law. So,
and it's such a small new market, like even like 14, 15 years. Yeah, if that.
And there's so much to choose from now. You know, you got so many coins. Like if we were bookies, we'd be trying to choose the horse that's going to win, right? That's what we're all looking for. And there's just so much choice now.
In terms of the broader market, Sammy, or just in the ecosystem?
In our ecosystem, in the PulseX, PulseChain
And crypto
ecosystem.
generally, hey? Yeah.
Oh, crypto generally. Well, the SEC just got rid of 60 tokens that I ain't betting on, but you never know. Like,
But they're not really getting rid of them. They're just like forcing people to trade them on decentralized exchanges instead of centralized exchanges.
well, yeah, a lot of centralized exchanges got rid of or delisted.
Yeah, I think, well, it's really only, I think Robinhood was the main one where they said, look, guys, if you don't get your shit up, pushing the sell button on you. So I don't think the others had done that. But
did they even have real crypto on there though, or was it just notional crypto on Robinhood?
Yeah, I'm not sure whether you ever held it in your wallet or not. But that's the way a lot of those sorts of exchanges work, is especially on the margin accounts and all that sort of stuff. They'll sell your assets down on you. They don't give a shit. That's just the way those accounts are set up. So that's more like a bridge account than a crypto DEX. But hey, you don't have the coins in your account on a crypto exchange either. Like, it's just numbers on a screen. So if they wanted to do the same, they could. But yeah, that's
So
what's good.
So do you guys feel like you guys have been through a few bears and bulls, like especially you, Tangent? Like, does this one feel exactly the same?
Way worse.
Way worse?
Way
Really?
worse.
Because I remember
Dude.
2017, 18 being like pretty bad, but then I just kind of like went, I'm just going to forget about crypto for a couple of years, and then I kind of got back in when it was like, okay, the halving's coming around, I'm going to go check what's happening, and then soon after that I found HEX and just went on that ride, and then this bear has been fantastic for me personally. I'm just been like,
you've been traveling, so maybe that distracts you. Do you know? I was just trying to think what.
So we had Hedron, we had Acosta, and then we had other stuff. And
I was just trying to think what could be the factors of why this one has hit me harder than usual. This is the first bear market that I was full-time crypto for. So that's like every day, my full attention is on how bad this bear market is/has been. Whereas in the past, you've got a day job that is like making the weeks click by, where you're just working for, like you're distracted by your non-crypto stuff. So that possibly makes me feel the time pain more significantly. But dude, this has been tragic. Like, as in, I do believe if you actually measure on a chart this amount of
even
time
worse,
that we've been
even worse
down for.
But even worse when Mount Gox went down.
Oh, that was completely different, man. Because my mindset was
like, that would have been just
I
nuclear. No,
I didn't believe in crypto though. Like, so there was no emotional for me. It was purely just like I had lost money on any other thing that where you lose money. There was no emotional, like, I deeply care about this particular industry. And so I'm having a financial impact, like a negative financial impact and a negative emotional impact to seeing the delays and the.
So the thing is, right, there's a number of us who have been through, at least, this is our third like bull bear. Yeah. Like we've done the bull bear. Now we're going up. Now we're in the bear.
I think most people are
kind of like
or one.
Some people are two, some people are one, some of us are three. But it feels like, it's like, how's that going to affect? Like, does that mean we come out of it faster, or does that mean we stay in it longer?
I think this one's.
I just think there's a lot of macro stuff going on, like a lot of government macro stuff going on in the world, and it's all coalescing. Like, all this stuff we're talking about is just coming together, and there is absolutely no doubt in my mind this is the most horrendous bear market I think any of us have ever seen.
Yes. For me, yes. Normally you do price or time pain or some combination of the two. This has been enough time pain, like what you would expect in time pain solo and price pain solo, and we've done both. We've done like 99% drops.
Yep.
And also extended periods of time as well. It's been like fucking savage.
I
Did
think
you guys see
what
the
makes
news they charged?
So on the flip
Sorry.
side on the flip side of that, I'm sort of expecting, because we've had such a savage downturn for so long, and I expect it to keep being, maybe not keep going down so hard, but like still being brutal for a little bit longer, maybe sideways for a while. I do expect when it comes back, because this is shaking out so many people. I think that it's just
shaking
gonna
out the weak
come back
hands.
good and proper.
I think the
Just
Can I
shaking
difference.
out the weak
say-
hands since 2020.
I think the difference
like,
is the difference this time is we've had a lot of things come out of left field that we probably wouldn't like. No one's seen the FTX thing coming, and then we've had just relentless onslaught from the US side of things in terms of regulators and whatever. And it's
relentless.
It's
bro.
never been so full on.
Relentless.
The regulation side of things has never been so full on. This is the most hardcore
Yeah.
they've ever
Were you gonna
done.
say something?
Did you see they charged two Germans with the Mt. Gox hack?
Oh, I heard about this. Yeah, that they've caught the freaking people who they
Charged.
think did it.
Two Germans. One's, I think, 30. One would have been 19 at the time, which was about, I don't know, 10 years ago, 2011 or something. So one would have been around about 19, the other one would have been around about 30. But yeah, both two Germans charged. If I find the article, I'll tweet it out and I'll send it to you.
Does that mean
Who
they get
charged
even
them?
more coins back? Like they gave it even more Bitcoin?
Oh, I don't know.
Possibly,
Imagine they would have been living the life, mate, back then.
Oh yeah, all spent. All
That's
spent.
gone.
I want my share of the yacht that they bought or whatever. Like I want some of their
You want your turret.
But in regards to the market cap, I mean, this is the first time that cryptocurrency has seen $1 trillion market cap. So the bigger they are, the harder they fall. So, we went up and we came crashing down with all this bullshit that's been going on in the bear.
They're definitely fighting us.
Oh yeah.
We're at that
But
point
what's-
where they're definitely fighting us now.
what I find funny is I've done a radio interview today and we're talking about this, and it's very US centric when every other country seems to be opening their doors more. You've got the MiCA legislation or policy that came through in the EU. Australia actually took a step back and said, no, we're gonna hold off with our token mapping and all that kind of stuff and give the industry room to breathe before we try and regulate too much. So it was really the US that has come down hard where everyone else is easing up. You've got Hong Kong is about to open up its doors as well. So that's a huge market, and that's
Yeah.
the level of
China.
wealth that goes through Hong Kong. Is anyone that's Chinese that's got a significant amount of wealth, it'll be coming through Hong Kong, because they typically are really strong on their capital controls in China. So if you open that spigot, that's massive. Whether or not that flows into the broader market or where it stays sort of localized to those sorts of projects that are known in that part of town, who knows? But I'm sure it's got to be good for the whole market. So yeah, it's been brutal onslaught, but I think the upside to all of that is it's made other jurisdictions come out and be a little bit more accepting of it because they want whatever the
That
US
money.
pushes away. Yeah. So I don't think it's all doom and gloom. We've got one very heavy-handed set of regulators, but everyone else seems to be taking the opposite track.
And in the end, it's like it's all just about like onboarding anyway, because like
Yep, I think it's just time now. Like the economy's had a little bit of a reset. Crypto's had a bit of a reset, flushed out all the leverage, and you get to back up now, hopefully. Tangent, you probably keep an eye on this. What is our total market cap in crypto? I don't even look.
Oh, I've got the chart. I was looking at it the other day. Like, obviously, Bitcoin's holding it up. Like, that's the entire. I think it was still over a trill total. Yeah, 1.03.
Okay.
So we're still just over a trill. We would have dipped. Yeah, we did. No, we didn't. Or did we?
So my point is that
we found support at the trill. We had the $1 trillion support. Big even.
Can you guys hear me okay now? Yeah.
Yeah,
it's quite loud.
Yeah.
Damn.
Okay. So my point before was that like it's the biggest stick they have is the fear stick. And like this choke points is just choking people in and out from their system into crypto. But really what they're just trying to do is scare the shit out of people, because that's the only kind of power they really have in the end.
Yep. They only have the power we give to them.
Yeah.
I think, yeah, like I said.
Have you guys? Do you guys want to talk about the Tornado Cash?
Keen.
Did you guys read?
I read about it.
About
haven't used it yet. Richard tweeted it. Very excited.
Yeah, I read that, but the tweet thing was from like earlier in the year, wasn't it? So what's the latest with it?
So I think like now they've incorporated this idea of receipts and being able to. So I mean, on the technical, from a technical perspective, I can't tell you. I'm not sure, like who the intermediaries are, who have access to the information. But if required to with this system, you can choose to have receipts, and then I guess expose the transactions to another party if you want to, without like showing it to the world.
So what's that mean? Is that they're going to set up some sort of government thing where we have to just dox to the transactions?
I don't think a government would be involved.
So who are you showing it to?
You can just prove that you were not on a blacklist and that or that you were on a whitelist, like without actually showing your shit. You can be like, here's cryptographic proof.
It's an
here's
opt-in
cryptographic proof that I didn't do anything wrong, but that's all you get. You don't get to see my shit. You don't get to see what I'm doing. You just get this proof that if you speak to cryptographers, they will explain to you that this actually does mean that I didn't do anything wrong. But if you want more information than that, then suck my dick. So,
hang on. No, I don't.
So you get
what do you mean?
Yeah, you get a cryptographic proof that you were not on a blacklist. So it's just proof of innocence.
Oh, okay. Yeah.
So that you don't have to actually show them the data, like what you were doing, how much, from who to who. It just gives you that ability. I don't really like it. I don't like that side of it, in the sense that this idea that we're like doing guilty until proven innocent, that we need to like prove our innocence and say, no, look, I didn't do anything wrong. It should be the other way around. It'd be like, you prove that I did something wrong. Otherwise, fuck off.
But I think that's the problem, though, is if they don't have the ability to prove it, then they've got to use a big sledgehammer and knock out the whole system. When I say whole system, I'm referring to just that protocol. Like if there's no, if they're to isolate who is and who isn't doing the right thing, they've got to ban the whole lot.
Yes.
So it'd be great if we get a Pulse version of like a Pulse NATO, hey? That'd be pretty cool.
Yeah,
that still work?
I like the idea. I like the idea that multiple people sort of produce these solutions that are along the spectrum, right? Like there's the full balls out, fuck you, we do what we want, you can't stop us. There's solutions like that, which is like the original Tornado Cash. And then you've got ones where like people are doing shit like KYC or like, you know, other weird shit where, oh, wasn't there one that was going to do like a government backdoor? Like it was like, there was a mixing service where they were like, I'm not joking. It was like they had a key that they give the government, like if an authority, and I'm like, how do you even define what an authority is? I'll be like, I'm a cop from Zimbabwe. Give me the fucking backdoor key. What? Like, so they would somehow work out who is like an authority that's allowed to have this key, and then they just give them the key, and then they can just go and decrypt all the shit. Like, and that was their solution to have a mixing service that wouldn't get taken down. But from ones that are as terrible as that, and as right, and then obviously you've got ones that are just fully transparent, but having these other solutions that are like along the spectrum, and I'm saying that this one is somewhere in between those, right? Where it's still a mixing service that does what you want, but allows you to selectively reveal what was going on or have some additional cryptographic proofs that what you did wasn't illegal or whatever. So I'm all for
I think
it.
a lot of people just send it to their exchange and then send it from their exchange to wherever they wanted to send it. Like they just
that also works, but not against nation states.
No, but it gives you the personal privacy.
Yep.
I want to learn more about. This this protocol. I want to understand it a bit better. At the moment, I don't really understand it. My understanding from what I had a quick peruse, and it sort of came across as creating a colored coin type scenario where things are not going to like certain Ethereum will no longer be fungible because they're not going to be treated in the same way as other Ethereum that has come out of it. You know, stuff stuff that's got the proof of innocence will be seen as
that's
okay,
a
well,
hard one though, isn't it?
Well, that's the thing. That's what I got out of it. The stuff that doesn't have the proof of innocence, well, to me, it comes, you know, if that's going to be deemed something that's important, then you create two different tiers of coins, which is like having transactions okayed by like OFAC compliant transactions. It's like
only to a specific observer though. Like so, only to the chain analysis company or the government. That's like so. That's not a network. That's not a network-wide. But what
are they going to do with that information? Tangent. The thing is that so chain analysis. What do they do with that information? If you receive coins and they come back to you and say, "Hey, you received coins from something that was an illegal transaction," what normally happens in societies when
I guess I'm just
you
making a
receive payment from funds that have been illegally obtained? Well, then they get confiscated, don't they? So
confiscated, and you end up like Ross Ulbricht.
Yeah, I don't think you can do that 43 in this sort of system because, okay, someone sends through, does something nefarious, coins get coloured, to use your terminology, but then as soon as those out of the other end of the mixer there put through a DEX or put through whatever, and then some poor innocent pleb picks up tokens that have got that path, they haven't been party to any wrongdoing, but the coins are tainted. So it's the equivalent of, but with cash, you don't know where the cash has been, and what's that? There's some statistic, God knows how true it is, that every $100 bill in the US has got traces of cocaine on it. I don't know whether it's bloody true or not, but that's the equivalent where it's flowing through society. It's flowing through society.
Wasn't there a court case? There was a famous court case where they said you can't be liable for that if you've gotten money from someone legitimately, but before then they got it from an illegal means.
That's right. You just can't.
Those people who you can't just go and sue the people who ended up with the money.
Yeah, that wouldn't be fair. That's a good point. You could literally just add into an LP, and then what are they going to do? like blacklist the entire LP and everyone who ever removes funds out of that LP. That's a form of that's not mixing, because you can only take back out to the same wallet that you, so it doesn't help you to obfuscate where the money's going and from and to. But if you want to just like F the system up and just like taint a whole pool of money, you just add to the LP and then just take it back out. It's game over. Like,
Yeah.
So I think it's a slippery slope once you head down that path. And so Hex Amigo said people with tainted coins have had their centralized exchange accounts closed, no questions asked, which is true. And we also had a case where someone had their address had interacted with Hex, so not actually sent Hex to a centralized exchange or everything.
I heard about this.
And the exchange sent them an email saying, "Look, we can see you've
Oh,
been claimed."
yeah.
They gave him a warning.
What the
Might be
hell's
scammed,
that,
it might be a
man?
scam. That was wild,
So
dude.
sad.
That was
That's
crazy.
sad.
That was
Yeah.
crazy.
So they're going
Yeah.
deep in
Someone's
your wallet.
book.
Yeah,
And
so
someone who wrote
that's why I have reservations about. That's why I want to understand it on a deeper level. Like I don't
Yeah.
understand enough about it. This new tornado, or what's it called, privacy pools. I want to I want to understand it on a deeper level, but that's my initial concern. That's my instinct tells me, well, this is going to create two tiers of coin, and then if there's two tiers of coin, then it's no longer fungible. And then that can present problems for just
That breaks
everyday
the
users.
system. Yeah.
Yeah. So I like the cash equivalent of it. It's like when you go pay with cash, you just pay with cash, and you haven't got, like, when you go buy some bread down the shop with cash, you haven't got people, tapping you on the shoulder saying, "Excuse me, where did you derive that cash from?"
Yeah.
So yeah.
Well, the same goes. Like the change you're getting from the cashier, you don't ask him where it's all come
Although
from.
I think in Russia, a while ago they got people in stores to fit into their cash registers like some sort of electronic device to track like how much cash was coming in to those cash registers.
Is
That's
that
probably
just
more
to
capital.
stop them from dodging tax, though?
No, I don't think it's something. Oh, maybe it is. Maybe it has that effect as well. Yeah, but I thought it was more like trying to track if counterfeit stuff is coming from somewhere, or if this general capital controls.
Yeah.
Of it. I'm not sure though.
Yeah, they love that shit. They love just knowing what's going on. They're just so curious.
They just want to know it all. Hey,
They're such curious little campers.
These people who want to control everything.
They're
Like
so
literally
curious.
they're literally the stupidest people in society. That's what I've come to realize. They're literally the most
Dumb fucks.
idiotic, like seriously, like I don't want to say too many bad words, but like they are the lowest, like mentally of retarded of society. like fully.
I wouldn't even,
Yeah.
I wouldn't like that's.
Agreed.
I wouldn't even go that far. What I'd say is they're no smarter than everyone. That they're the privileged position of governing over, but they act like they are. I think that's the biggest issue.
Yeah,
So
for sure.
I don't.
Don't let them have your
necessarily
data.
Yeah.
I'm just reading
they are
free
not.
speech.
Yeah,
Don't
they
let them
are
have your
not.
data.
They are not philosophers. They are not strategists. They are not.
And they're getting bad info, and
They're literally just good at winning popularity
info,
contests.
and they're just
They're good at
making decisions based on that bad info. So
I
not
think,
only are
yeah,
they
that's-
not very
that's the issue.
smart, they're like also getting bad info. Yeah.
They don't have any of the skills that you would look for in a leader at all. Like none. They literally just win a popularity contest and then fuck around. Like, but you know the saying, they're gonna find out.
What's the saying? They're gonna
Fuck
find
around,
out.
find out. Like, just like But yeah, that's been interesting. The whole, you know, there are politicians now in the US that are going like pro Bitcoin, pro crypto platform. I think they know that that's, if in the future, that is going to be a powerful way to win votes. And did you see that thing that Richard tweeted out with the Russian banks, that someone hacked the underlying system that allows the major banks to communicate or something? And so it like shut down the freaking banking system in Russia. And they think it might have been some like...
you got to be careful with that because you don't know how much of that's... Yeah, you got to be careful of that because you don't know how much of that's bullshit propaganda. West propaganda as well.
Yep. That's true.
Like,
you know, that's actually something that scares the shit out of me is, so you've got hackers, right? Like you've got hackers that can do things like that. If a hacker is not necessarily as awake to the realities of the world as some are, and so if they get fed propaganda and they think that they are doing like hacktivism, and then they go and hack like a company or a government or something where the real truth is that it's not what they... So they've been led to believe that they're hacking for a good reason, and they take down a banking system or a company or something. Say there's some, I don't know, it might be like SeaWorld or some shit, and they're like worried about like animal cruelty or something. That's probably a bad example because that one's probably legit. But you get what I'm saying, right? Like very insanely skilled hackers that have been misled and think that they are hacking for good, you know, when really they don't know the full picture.
And every time I hear like, oh, the North Korean hackers did this, or the Ukrainian hackers did that,
that's like thinking, the catch cry, isn't it? Yeah.
It's always Russian hackers, bro. It's always Russian hackers, bro.
Yeah.
So
and if they're hackers, what's the first thing they're going to do? They're going to like try to mislead you on who they are. Like,
so here's my plea. Here's my plea. If you are watching and you are a elite hacksaw, please first use your hacking skills to actually hack into systems to find the truth. So, because obviously if you're at that skill level, you should actually be able to hack into areas that would allow you to get information so that you can get a more balanced viewpoint and then go ham if you really need to do it. Like if you feel that strongly about it.
I think the one thing we can all agree out of the last 3 or 4 years is everyone's fed propaganda. And I don't care what side you sit on or whether it's nation, state-wise, everyone is fed whatever their governments want them to hear. I think it's all on us to, like say, get the right data, make bloody educated decisions.
Cut out the noise.
Cut out the noise, yeah.
Part of cutting out the noise is on your home network, like use VPN, and also perhaps like some sort of filtering service, which you can get for free and set up for free on like a Raspberry Pi or something. Like, and I was saying this earlier in the show, like use a Pi-hole or something like that. That's a great little free, absolutely free thing that you can just plug into your router. There's a few steps involved.
You put it between your router and the NBN box.
Yeah.
Is that the deal?
Yeah, you set like the DNS points to the Pi-hole.
Yeah, someone's mentioning Gary McKinnon, who was actually he hacked into NASA and found out all sorts of interesting stuff.
Was the moon landing real?
I don't know about the moon landing, but he found a list of off-world officers.
Off-world officers?
Like officers, off-world officers. Like
hang on a second.
Officers.
You just reminded me of something. Talking about that, Snowden said that he had access to literally everything.
And he looked for the UFO stuff.
And looked for stuff to do with aliens and never found any shit. And now there's all this shit coming out.
You know,
it's real. What the fuck?
Okay.
This is going to lead into another hour-long conversation.
Okay, let's go.
This will get that YouTube algorithm.
Just recently, there was a big kind of disclosure thing, and before then, there was another massive disclosure thing, and that massive disclosure thing was getting tons of social media traction. So I think that was the kind of distraction one, and this last one was the more, and it's interesting. It's an interesting watch. You can go and watch that. I've tweeted it if you want to go look at my Twitter thing. It's a YouTube
what was
link,
that
and
one?
you can go.
what was-
It's Stephen Greer, Dr. Stephen Greer put that on. And
Oh yeah.
you can watch through that, and
yeah, it's funny, isn't it? I've it's just gone off the charts in terms of alien content at the moment on YouTube. Like my whole feed is all about and
and that means that they're trying to
UAP.
drown out all the. That means they're trying to drown out the information by flooding it with misinformation.
Yeah, I don't
So
know.
then you have to work for what the actual nugget actually is. Yeah.
Where do you guys stand? Like Bluey, you and Sammy both believers in all that stuff, yeah?
Yeah.
Believers in what?
Jexa?
Wait, hang on,
I'm
what's the question?
Yeah, narrow it down a little bit because that's a pretty broad con.
You're into all that stuff. What the
Sammy was immediately, yeah. No, let me what we've talked about previously, like it's probably like a year or two ago now, we used to do streams on like aliens and stuff. And you guys used to talk about aliens over the Westall extension.
Yeah, the
Remember that one?
Westall.
Oh yeah. Oh yeah.
Thing.
So I remember you guys like being like believing in it. I've always been of the opinion, like I've never seen any. It's always just like on the fringe of being something that you can understand. Like it's always, there's never any real evidence.
There was one book that I read, The Hair of Alien, and that was like had genetic evidence. That was a hair that was physical evidence that was like very unexplainable. And
but where is the hair now?
That was the hair. You can the guy who wrote the book, you can read it, and I'm not sure exactly the physical whereabouts of the hair right now, but the head of the CSIRO, who's a named scientist, he was the one that genetically looked at it, and he was the one that put out the analysis of it. So the head of that was back then. So that's look.
What did it prove?
I'm not a believer in anything. I'm a like, give me more evidence for a lot of this stuff.
Yeah.
About the moon landing stuff, I don't bloody know, but I'm definitely questioning
I
it.
don't know about the moon landing, but I can tell you.
You know what I've been thinking? You know what I've been thinking
That's
recently about the
definitely
moon landing stuff? I'm thinking they actually had technology they didn't want to release back then. Because how do they land a fucking thing on the moon and then take off again? And they haven't gone back for 50 years. And the reason they haven't gone back for 50 years is because they had the technology back then, which means they have it now, but they don't want that technology out there for some reason or something. Look, there's tons of stuff that's been kept from us, that's for sure. Like,
I think the last couple of years has shown us all how they can, like how the powers that be can collude to get some shit done. So it's totally feasible that, like, and I used to be 100% yes, of course we landed on the moon. Maybe they did. I don't know.
Boy,
the video is definitely like the imagery and videos. Most of that is bullshit.
Dodgy.
Like even who's the
you
guy?
look at it now and it looks
Buzz
like
Aldrin has
terrible.
said like it's
It looks
bullshit.
fake as shit.
It looks fake as shit.
Wait, the shit is got like, if you look at like the welding and shit on the thing, it looks like kids made it. Like when you, it's fucking bad.
Paper
man.
mache.
It's fucking bad. Like you look at it and you're like, what the fuck? Like what the shit? This looks completely fucked.
It's hard to know. And but this is the
They've
world
got
we're
like gaps
moving into.
in their
guys.
suits
We're
and
moving
shit.
into a world.
They're wearing sneakers. Like it's just
No, but we're moving into a world where you do not know what is. We're not going to know what's legit and what's not legit. It's going to be very hard for us to know the difference.
I heard something that was very legit. I want to tell you this. It's about to do with the moon landing shit, sort of. This makes a lot of sense to me, that regardless of whether the moon landing's real or not, at the time, it was a time of peace. So governments had no reason to be spending ridiculous amounts of money on military budgets. So what they did was they said, oh, it's a space race. We have to beat the Russians, and they would have been saying the same thing. We have to beat them in this space race. Really what they were doing was creating ICBMs. So like they just wanted to enhance their rocket capabilities for war, but in a way that would make the budget for doing it palatable to the citizens. So it was a space race rather than a military budget. And I was like, holy shit, that actually makes a fuck ton of sense.
Hey, King Jake. King Jake goes, he goes, I know the reason you don't have a girlfriend, Brady. Yeah, it's because I got a wife and 3 kids, you fucking reason.
Why is everyone being so rude today?
So, hey, I'm also like one of those people, like when you don't see it, like you can't justify that it's real, right? But I've seen some shit through the years that would make me think that we are not alone. And I think it's ignorant to think we are the only existing species in the whole universe. I mean, look how many planets there are. Yeah. But before we finish the show, I wanted to say about the Aussie meetup before I forget. Can I quickly cut in? And just let everyone know that we've got 70 people who are coming. October 13th, 14th, and 15th. So there's on the Friday night, we're going to the Occidental Hotel in Sydney just for canapes and drinks. Saturday, we'll be doing a cruise on the Sydney Harbour. And Sunday, there's an optional brunch or breakfast we'll be doing for those who are not too hungover. So if you're keen, hit me up. Let me know I've got a form. You just hit me up on Twitter, DM me. I'll find you and send you a form and add you to our group.
Nice.
Thank you.
Awesome.
Thank you.
What were the dates again?
October 13th to 15th.
October 13th to 15th in Sydney. And there's the Telegram chat. We should put that in the chat here. So is there a Telegram or is it Twitter?
It's on Twitter. Most stuff is on Twitter, but you can message me at Sammy Chica on Twitter or Telegram. I'm everywhere. TikTok, you name it. Facebook.
Awesome.
Yeah.
So just before we wind it up, guys, let's go around. Jexa, any final words, mate?
Don't believe anything you see anymore. Got to question everything. That's it. That's nothing inspirational.
I'm going to quote the guy from Spinal Tap at the end, and he says, basically, I believe everything I hear, and I believe that makes me a more discerning people than most people.
Tangent.
Are you saying they're such dumbasses that even when they're trying to work out what's real and what's not, they're so dumb that they fuck it up anyway? Like,
Well, first of all, Spinal Tap, right? It's Spinal Tap, like it's a Spinal Tap quote. It's a Spinal Tap quote. But the point is, right, it's got a deeper meaning. It's like if you want to like give something the time of day, you listen as if like it really is, like that person is telling the truth, and you give it the space to actually listen to what they're saying and to look at it and to really, and that gives you more discernment because now you've actually really tried to not believe them rather than come in with your biases.
Yeah, rather than immediately writing shit off. Yep. I like that. I like that a lot. My outro is that I have enjoyed this stream so much. Seriously, when prices are effed, I'm normally pretty flat, like as in I'm just like, oh. But this has been so much fun. And I didn't realize it was going to be this much fun.
It lifted my spirits as well, man.
Definitely lifted my spirits. And I also want to say a massive thank you and shout out to everyone in the chat that blew this tweet up on the Bit Refill thing for to demonstrate to Bluey the power of the the harassment that we can do as a community to
Yeah,
just
bring it on. Let's do it.
So thanks heaps, and yeah, awesome. Cheers.
Sammy, is there a ladies
yeah.
is there a ladies stream coming up soon?
No, not for a couple. I don't even think there's one this month. I think it rolls over to the next month because we don't go on US time. So it's not for a couple of weeks. But it's also fun streaming with Claz and Podpool. They're really cool chicks to stream with. It's been a lot of fun with them. But it's always good seeing you guys. You know, it's always fun. You're so smart. I learn so much from you guys. And you know, in a bear market, you're right. You need to lift yourself up, and you know, making good connections, good friends, and chat. They're always there. They're always keeping the vibe. You know, I love coming here on Tuesday night and enjoy it. It's my time out. So thanks heaps, guys, and I'll catch you around.
I want to thank everyone in the chat. You guys are awesome. That's pretty much why we come back and do this every week. It's been nice to have everyone here tonight, like 5 of us. It would have been nice to have Unwrecked on. Haven't seen him. We're going to get him back on, hey? Apparently, he's living in a hex-shaped house.
Get the
Believe it or
band
not.
back together.
Eating
Hex-shaped house, for
bananas.
real.
Eating
For
bananas.
real.
and something else.
No.
Was that deliberate? Was that
Unwrecked
deliberate?
is such a
Oh, yeah.
hexagon. Such a hexagon. He sought out and bought a hex-shaped house.
That's wild.
It's
Yeah,
wild. It's absolutely wild.
That's freaking wild, man.
All right, guys. It's been lovely chatting. We will see you next week, and fuck you to the trolls.